Welcome to this new episode of The Disabled Life. The purpose of this podcast is to tell people how I live my life. The name I'm using on the podcast now is The Disabled Guy, because I felt that you needed to hear something as opposed to just my voice there. I'm a disabled male living in Florida with cerebral palsy. I'm here to tell you how I live my life and some of the volunteer work that I do and how I manage to do it with cerebral palsy. Without further ado, let's go into the episode. Well, I'm going to talk to you today about something that happened to me. I didn't expect it to happen. Well, I have a doctor's appointment on the 1st of the month. It's Tuesday. So due to new Miami Dade County paratransit regulations, the the doctor appointment times are secure. You can still get them, sure. But the problem we can have is the return times. So due to the return time, I decided to do it, schedule it on Thursday. Even though they say you can schedule it on one day before, I won't do that because of that problem. So what happened was, So I call Thursday and I schedule such. But here comes the problem. I am a person that my primary language is English. I am used to giving addresses and doctors' names and all of this in English, even though I speak Spanish. But I call in and I go, and I get this woman that is very highly accented in Spanish. I barely understand her English. But I say again, I don't feel comfortable speaking Spanish to them because of that, because of my primary language thing. For example, my mom's primary language is Spanish. My secondary language is Spanish, so she would be more comfortable doing that, giving addresses and things in Spanish. It was hard for me to do that. Finally, okay, so one thing that happened to me was another weird thing that happened was somebody put me on hold. They transferred the call to this person. So, it took me a while. I give her an address. Luckily, they had the address put in the computer as a doctor's visit, a doctor's appointment location. So that's fine. But I always like to give them that because you never know, what errors they can make. So my thing is, another thing is, so I went ahead and filed a complaint, and hopefully the trip goes right. But that was no good. So I'm sitting here wondering if everything is right. And another thing that they do that's good is they have the ability to have you certify a PCA or personal care attendant, which can be anybody. As long as they certify one, it can be anybody for you. For example, I'm riding with my mom on Tuesday, so I hope that everything goes right apart from that. So what I did do is, another thing that I don't understand, I like, is that if it's on, let's say, like for example, this thing happened on Thursday during work hours. So it was fine. So I went ahead and filed a complaint against, so they could fix the problem, because this is something I feel very uncomfortable with. What happens if I'm going somewhere that is not my doctor's office, which can often occur, and it's not on file and they have to put it into a system? My feeling is that they should, if they're going to answer the English phone line, they should have proficiency in English language. So I'm telling you, this is not something I like. I'm not happy with this. So I will go ahead. I believe This happens on Tuesday. So next week, there's going to be another episode because it takes time to process. And if I have to file a complaint in the afternoon, then hopefully I don't have to do that. But there may be a possibility that I may have to do a file. Because sometimes they do wrong things or late vehicles occur or whatever. So I'll give you an update as soon as I can on what happened with this trip. With that, thank you for listening. In closing, let me say thank you for listening to this episode of The Disabled Life. You can follow me on the following platforms. You can follow me at Good Pods. You can leave comments, messages there. You can also follow me on Twitter at The Disabled Guy. And you can also listen to me on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and many others. Once again, thank you for listening, and I'll also give you my email. My email is Kilo Echo 4 Kilo Echo Yankee or KE4KEY@gmail.com. Once again, thank you, and thank you for your support. And I'll see you next week.